Draft day can be an exciting time for players getting a new opportunity, but it can also mean that someone else's opportunity gets taken away. There was some surprising news for a Jets veteran that could get in some danger of being benched or maybe even traded. Let's talk about it.
Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field Gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rodgers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor Gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever been.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Hey everybody, I'm Paul Lesden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show. Also available wherever you get your podcast if you prefer the audio-only version. And I don't know if anyone was asking for this, but it's time for some Friday, I was going to say night, but rather morning, Friday morning edition of Boy Green Daily with my fathers, joined on some Sundays, some this day, some that days, normally on Saturdays, but now gracing us with his presence during the work week on a Friday. There's a lot to get into, so let's bring in my father, a little hop-on-pop action here on Boy Green Daily. Good morning, Father.
Good morning from the ATL, or
hot
Hotland, which reminds me of another story I won't tell, where you almost got us both killed.
That could be a good one for the future. That story has some legs. That's a good story. So we'll see how that works. We'll get there in due time, but I want to immediately address the headline of this video so people understand. First off, there's a full story in the YouTube description down below if you guys would like to cheat and look ahead on the story. And I'll just be honest, I'll give you guys my whole thought process here. I saw a Bleacher Report article that said certain veterans around the NFL are going to be in danger of getting benched or having their playing time significantly reduced if a certain thing happens in the draft. And for the Jets, this initial article on Bleacher Report said, if the Jets draft Brock Bowers, Tyler Conklin is going to have his playing time significantly reduced. Again, Tyler Conklin, the starting tight end for the Jets, he's been here the last 2 years. And in those 2 years, he's appeared in 34 out of 34 possible games. He's entering the final year of his $21 million contract he signed. And in terms of offensive snaps during that 2-year run, he's played in 70% and 77% of those offensive snaps. And again, then I will tell you the other thing I heard from Rich Cimini here momentarily. But before we get to that part, I just want to throw out there as well that a lot of people will say, well, Paul, can't you have multiple tight ends on the field? Are you an idiot? How would that possibly affect Conklin? Well, I wanted to look up the 12 personnel numbers, and that means 1 running back and 2 tight ends. The Jets only ran 12 personnel last season, 19% of the time. That was 21st in the NFL, and there are 32 teams in the NFL, for those counting at home. Free education on that nugget. So it sounds like Tyler Conklin, just on a bare minimum, would get some reduction of percentages from that standpoint, which I found interesting. But the other nugget I want to quickly get to is what I saw in Rich Cimini's Flight Deck podcast that got released last night that kind of caught me off guard. And that was in the middle of writing this story. And Rich Cimini said, quote, I think a guy like Tyler Conklin could be on the trade block. That would be contingent on them drafting Bowers. He kind of said it at the end of his opening monologue. He kind of named a couple of players. Alan Lazardi said as someone they could put on the trade block, but they'd have to eat a lot of his money. He mentioned Conklin and then obviously Zach Wilson. But the Conklin one caught me off guard because I haven't heard that at all. And he is entering the last year of his deal. He's just been a solid guy. He's not spectacular. He's a possession receiver. He had 0 touchdowns last year, so the numbers are the numbers, but he's just a really solid guy. So I hope the Jets don't do this because I think he's a really solid guy, and why not have depth? And it's not like it's crazy money. But that part caught me off guard because I was just writing the story based on snap percentages. But yeah, Dad, Tyler Conklin, our boy, he's been on the show a bunch of times. Tattoos, long hair, fellow bearded individual, which we respect. So this Conklin news kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah, so let's go back to the beginning for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I will tell you that Conklin is what we thought Lazard was. And I'll
What do you mean?
explain.
Please do.
So we overpaid for Conklin 3 years ago. Okay. He had 1 year of production in Minnesota over 500 yards. That was his last year with Minnesota. And then, because we like to throw money out the window, we gave him a 3-year, $21 million contract, which was far exceeding his playing time to that point. So, long story short, I just want to don't let the Jets off hook there. We probably could have had him much cheaper. His entire yardage at that time in the NFL in his 3 or 4 years in Minnesota combined was less than 1,000 yards with a 600-yard season. So we significantly overpaid. So that's the bad news.
Okay.
And so the bad news, we're still paying. We could be paying him less today. So I just want to put that out there that we overpaid. Like Lazard. Unlike Lazard, he's delivered the goods, right? He's in the middle of his 3rd year with 60 receptions, 600 yards a season. And to your point of 0 touchdowns, the only reason he had 0 touchdowns is Hackett's an idiot, and Zach Wilson is not good. So some thoughts on him. I'll tell you that he. I'll throw some other stats at you.
Sure.
Conklin. I don't want him traded. It would be a mistake, despite the fact we overpaid. I'll tell you, he's about below average in salary, even with the overpaying of his contract. He's 19th ranked paid tight end in the league for about 12th or 13th production for tight ends. So you put that in perspective there. I definitely think we should, and hopefully Hackett is watching, we should use the 1-2 formation more often, right? And I'll get back to that in a second. But yeah, Conklin, very solid. A mistake to do anything with him. It's not that big of a salary cap savings. There is some dead cap if we did unusual things with him that the Jets would have to eat. But he is valuable, and it'd be a mistake. He was the 2nd leading receiver on the Jets last year, which, by the way, doesn't get you any kind of prize. But factually, he's value add. And I'll stop there, but I have a few other thoughts on it.
Yeah, we'll definitely work back in there. So, yeah, just so people understand Tyler Conklin's contract, he's owed $9.3, or excuse me, let me reset that. He is counting $9.3 million against the cap this year. He's owed $7 million in cash. Half of that cap hit is would be dead. That would be a $4.2 million dead cap hit in any cut situation. I don't think there's any chance that he gets cut. But Rich Cimini did bring it up on his podcast, which, again, just caught me off guard. I just haven't heard that before. That there was a chance he could be traded. And again, I want to make this clear. Rich Cimini made this clear, and it's also in the article very clear. It would only be contingent on the fact that the Jets drafted Bowers. That's what Rich Cimini said, which could lead to Conklin going on the trade block from that perspective. Now, another thing that I do want to address is that a lot of people say, well, Brock Bowers isn't your traditional tight end, so he will play in different snap percentages. And I actually have his college snap percentages in front of me. He lined up in the slot in 53% of his overall college snaps. 37% of the time he was in line. That's your normal tight end. And then he was out wide 10%. So I've heard a lot of people say, because this video went live last night. We're live right now in the morning, but like the video title and everything went live and people were commenting saying, whoa, what does this mean? What about Allen Lazard? Can't Brock Bowers be big slot? Allen Lazard did play in 76% of the offensive snaps last season. Plus, you have to figure that even if the Jets drafted Brock Bowers at 10th overall this year, they're still going to take another receiver. So it's not like he's always going to be that 3rd receiver on the field. I think there are going to be occasions where he's playing his actual position and he's being in line at tight end. So I just wanted to factor that in as well. But I think you said it earlier. I just hope that Nathaniel Hackett would. So maybe let me reset. Last year, the Jets did not use 12 personnel a lot. Again, it was 19% of the time. Now, you could say because they didn't have the necessary skills to utilize it. Maybe if you had Brock Bowers and Conklin, you would use 12 personnel more often because you have better talent to use it. So that's a very fair argument for anyone that may say that out in the universe, that when you add that in, that's where all of a sudden you start potentially making some things happen. So again, Brock Bowers in his overall career college snaps, 53% of the time he was in the slot, 37% of the time in line, and 10% out wide. It'll be interesting because we don't know what the Jets would do of where they would put him on the line. But again, I want to reiterate that despite all those numbers about Conklin and everything else, he is just a solid guy. He's not part of the problem. He's more so part of the solution. Yeah. And I don't want to move. I just want to make that clear. I've got a personal relationship with him, but also the production speaks for itself. He's coming off a career high year and his receptions, and it was in less than ideal, to put it lightly, quarterback situation. Aaron Rodgers, high tide rises all boats, and he's going to be in a much better position this next upcoming year, and he's solid. The catching is really, really nice for Conklin, so I just wanted to reiterate that.
Yeah, and I'm with you. Actually, that's, somebody asked, right, why did I say dynamic duo? And I may be talking about Boyd Green and myself, but I'm also talking about Bowers and Conklin, right? The reason they were in the 20th or 19% of the time they ran the 12 formation, the reason was personnel. And I would tell you that this is an opportunity, and I made a joke about it when I called in yesterday, but I wasn't really joking. This is an opportunity for the best tight end combination in the NFL, and even hearkening back to 2011 Patriots when they had Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez. We won't talk about Aaron Hernandez, but realize that both those players on the field, they each had about 600 yards in 2010, 2011, similar numbers, except Gronkowski went over for 1,000. This is an opportunity with the size and speed, the matchups, and everything else. You run that 1-2 formation, and with healthy Aaron Rodgers, this is going to be huge, and the opportunity is out there. It would be a detriment to do anything different, and it also lets you take a late round wide receiver because you don't have that need because your philosophy is flipped, right? We're going to do the 1-2 formation. We're going to get a pounder as a complement in our running back situation, and then the play action. So having two tight ends capable of catching passes, making impacts, I would definitely not let Conklin go. And as I said, as tight ends go, he's reasonably cheap, and the cap hit for number 10 we're going to have to pay anyways. So this may solve our problem at I'll call it playmakers position. So we definitely got to keep him.
Yeah, and I think they were just as upside to your point about the statistics. When he first started his career with Minnesota, he was a bench player, reserve player, didn't get on the field a lot. 5 catches, 77 yards his first year. 8 catches, 58 yards the next year. Then he got a little bit more, 19 catches, 194. And then when he's in a contract year, again, anyone who was drafted outside of the first round, anywhere from the 2nd to the 7th round, get a 4-year standard contract. So all of a sudden, Tyler Conklin was in a position where guys were getting hurt, so he got an opportunity. Plus, it was his contract year. All kind of the stars and moons aligned for Conklin, who again in 2021 set a career high with 61 catches, 593 yards, and ended up getting 3 touchdowns. He gets a nice deal for the Jets, 3 years, $21 million. Again, if we're going to be yelling about the Jets paying tight ends, maybe $24 million for 3 years to CJ Uzomah was the mistake, which somehow he got more money than Conklin despite less production. Not sure how that happened, but that's neither here nor there, I suppose. And he signs that 3-year, $21 million deal with the Jets. The Jets pivot. Joe Douglas said that they wanted to double dip at tight end that offseason. And now look at these numbers. And again, it's been with terrible quarterback play. These aren't spectacular. These aren't getting Tyler Conklin to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's not getting him to the Pro Bowl. But over the last 2 years, this is the production. 58 catches, 552 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And then this past season, he tied his career high in reception with 61, set a new career high in receiving yards with 621, and then also, like I said, didn't have a touchdown, but the Jets didn't get in the red zone that often. So there wasn't really a lot lot of apps, I would say, but the production is the production. So again, I just wanted to reiterate right off the top that this is a story I was writing initially about snap percentages. I'm like, okay, here we go. And then in the middle of it, I saw Rich Cimini drop this Flight Deck podcast, his draft version. I'm like, maybe there's some nuggets in there. Let me pause my story real quick and listen to this 40-minute episode. It's a good episode, a lot of nuggets in there. You guys should check it out. It's also linked in the story. And then I heard that Conklin thing, and I was just like, Soinks? Whoa, mama. But I think to your point earlier, though, it is intriguing to have a Hernandez-Gronk thing, which took over the NFL a long time ago. When you have tight ends that are these mismatch nightmares in the normal case of they're either too fast or too big or too wormy, squirrely for like a Brock Bowers who breaks a lot of tackles, has a lot of yak, gets a lot of catches at the line of scrimmage and is able to make things happen. I'm just kind of intrigued with the potential usage of it moving forward. So we'll see. Maybe Brock Bowers isn't taken and then all this was moot, but he is currently the betting odds favorite according to the ESPN analytics by far, that he is the favorite. According to their analytics, they have percentages for the percentage chance and likelihood of each player being taken at 10, and Brock Bowers is the overwhelming favorite. Let me see if I have the next closest in front of me. I have the graphic here from ESPN. Let me see here. Okay, I will read this graphic to you as it's popping up here. Okay, yeah, the next closest person is Rome Odunze. But he's less than half the analytical percentage than Bowers. Those are the three most likely. Brock Bowers, Rome Odunze, and Olu Fashanu, according to ESPN Analytics, are the three most likely players to be selected by the Jets.
Yeah, I'll tell you that, the Jets historically have underutilized the tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just to put it in perspective, right?
Yeah.
Conklin, right? 2 years with the Jets, solid tight end numbers.
Sure.
But I would tell you that what he did was what you would expect out of your number one tight end, right? 600 yards, 60 catches, 600 yards. That's pretty average, in my opinion, for what you expect out of the tight end position. That puts him in the top 10 in 2 years in tight ends receiving yards in Jets history at number 8. With one more year, he'll be in the top 5 with average production. So the Jets have historically underutilized the tight end position. This is the opportunity to flip the script and get this dynamic duo. I'm telling you that this could make the difference. This pounding the ball with getting a solid running back, as we talked about before, the play action, this dual threat at tight ends. This is how the Jets, with this offensive line, this is how the Jets is going to win the AFC East if they went this direction.
Let me ask you real quick, because I heard Rich Cimini talk about this. Matt Miller has also talked about this. He's the ESPN NFL draft analyst. That one of the things, as soon as Brock Bowers of the Jets even remotely became a possibility this offseason, one of the things people looked at is Aaron Rodgers' history in Green Bay and the production at the tight end position and the targets at the tight end position. And it was in the bottom third of the league in all of those categories. It was like 20th and worse and all those in terms of targets and things. Is that something, and I'll just ask you this, is that something we can look into and evaluate, or is it just more an indictment on the talent the Packers happen to have at the tight end position, so they didn't throw it there a lot? If they had a Gronk, if they had somebody, would those numbers just be dramatically up? So how much stock should we put into that? Because there was a nugget that Rich Cimini brought up, there was a nugget Matt Miller brought up that, hey, man, Aaron Rodgers doesn't seem to like to throw it over the middle to the tight end a lot. So, like, that's a factor.
Yeah, and I think it's a personnel thing. I'll tell you that if you're an NFL fan, you reasonably could pick if I gave you a team and a position, if you're a solid NFL, diehard fan, you should be able to name that person, a person from that position, from that team. I'll tell you that Green Bay, the last tight end they had, is in jail for being a pedophile. Chimura, who was Brett Favre's go-to tight end back in the day. And so since then, could you name a tight end that Green Bay had? I'll tell you, I couldn't. And so I think it's more of a player personnel package thing. Aaron Rodgers is going to throw the people who are open and who he trusts and who are going to make the right decisions on the route. So it's not a bias. It's a bias based on personnel.
Yeah, and I will add in that, and Cimini also dropped this nugget in the story, but the Jets, while you are correct, they have underutilized the tight end position for a long time. Before they got Dustin Cowher way back in the day in the first round, when they traded back into the first round to get him, they have ignored the tight end position for 10 plus years. And it's interesting that the Jets, with Hackett in his first year, while there was a lot of bad, they were, I think, top 12 in tight end yardage production with it was 800 plus because you add in Tyler plus Uzama and plus everybody else. So there's top 12. So obviously the Hackett offense can utilize the tight end position. It's within the realm. That's something that they did last year. Now, did they do that last year because the quarterback play was bad? So it's easier to funnel production to the tight end than trying to do other crazier things? Perhaps. I don't know. But I am really curious if they do end up getting him, how they utilize him, because again, the feather in Brock Bowers' cap is they've used him as a running back. They've used him in the slot. They've used him out wide. They've used him in line. They've used him on jet sweeps and a lot of the screen game, which you don't often see with the tight end position. So again, it may take a level of creativity. We'll see if, I'm seeing all these Packers tight ends in history. Bubba Franks, Jermichael Finley, Richard Rodgers is another one off the top of my head. So Jimmy Graham, he had a cup of coffee, if you guys remember that, as we're having a weird Green Bay Packers tight end trivia in the comment section right now. But there's a couple of guys there. But it would be intriguing again to see what happens there.
That's like calling Joe Namath a 49er. Anyways,
it was a Ram. That's okay. I forget.
A Ram. Yeah, it's all the same. Or Joe Montana, Chief.
Yeah. Sure.
Or Tony Dorsett, Denver Bronco. But anyways, I would tell you that Hackett should go back and watch film from the 2011 Patriots where Aaron Hernandez and Rob Gronkowski combined for 2,200 yards at the tight end position. Hernandez was just under 1,000, and Gronkowski was over 1,300 yards that year. So the opportunity is there, and I know I'll probably the earth will crumble in that ridiculous Netflix thing on that loser from Michigan. But anyways, I would tell you that Aaron Rodgers is capable of throwing the ball as well as Tom Brady. So hopefully lightning does not strike me for saying that. And so the opportunity is there with the right scheme, with the right play calling to take advantage of this dynamic duo.
Yeah. So again, that is it. Again, if any of you guys are joining late, I know we have 700 plus people in the room, and people may just be seeing this and want it explained. Either rewind it to the beginning of the video or check out the full article down below, whether you're watching live or after the fact, to learn more details about this story, because we'll be going in a few other directions as it pertains to this. So thank you, everybody. And make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe down below. We appreciate it. Keep showing the support. Again, we're live every single morning at 7:30. All right, Dad, I do also want to kind of give you a shout out, a comment, a whatever we're going to call it, because you checked it off the bucket list, doing the mock draft and doing it in front of the fans and everything, and you got a wide array of responses. First off, having essentially a week, it's not quite a week, but having essentially a week with your mock draft and any reactions that you saw, how do you feel about your mock you released?
Yeah, I will tell you that the mock draft, there was two things I wish had happened that didn't happen, but my contingencies fell into place. So I was extremely happy with my first two picks of offensive linemen. Right, I had traded back to get that second round pick and a few other things, but I got my backup. Right, I was going to try to trade down to get Bowers. The program didn't work itself out, but the two offensive linemen, I got two of the best players in the draft and a first-round talent in the second round. Very happy with that. I did miss. I would have liked to get Esteem from Notre Dame at a running back, so that would have been ideal. And then people didn't like the quarterback. They wanted me to take a quarterback sooner. I was completely satisfied with taking a quarterback in the 7th round. That's what they need. They need a developmental quarterback. You can take a quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round. What are you trying to do? We have no idea how many times Aaron's going to go in the darkness and come back and play another year. So the 7th round, we could debate who I should have taken in the 7th round.
Yeah.
And so maybe that might have been a homer pick a little bit, but I think Sam Hartman is going to do some things in the league.
I will put up the mock in a second, but I just heard Joey Bad make this comment on YouTube. Paul, if you're boy green, does that make your pops man green? Which, again, I just feel like sounds like a disease. So I'm not sure. Are you embracing man green?
No.
Well, there you have it. All right, here we go. But funny comment. Thank you. All right, let's go to Twitter. This is where I put it up. This is my dad's mock draft. In case you missed it, you can rewatch the episode. It was last Saturday. There's a Boy Green Daily playlist, and you guys can listen to anything. We had like guys like Matt O'Leary on this week, and so many others. So make sure you guys check it out. But my dad traded back with Vegas, ended up picking Troy Fatanu, Zach Frazier, Tej Walker, Tyke Smith, McKinley Jackson, Kamani Vidal, and also Sam Hartman, which was a variety of the picks. But let's read some of the commentary here. Overall, you got a B.
Before you go there, don't skip what the grade I received from the website.
PFF gave you an A minus. Yeah, they gave you an A minus down there. So yeah, of course. And the fans, 500 voted. I put it out there. A, B, C, or this should be your dad's show now moving forward. Thankfully, that got the lowest percentage. I appreciate that. I enjoy this gig. So only got 7.9% of the votes. Yeah, that was nice. But 14.9% of the fans gave you an A. 39%, which was the leader, gave you a B. 38.2% gave you a C. Okay, so there you go. It's close to a B, C range according to the fans, but the experts gave you an A. There you go. Solid haul. All right, so I'm going to read you a couple of these draft responses from people. NY Jets situation reporter, our buddy, a good Jets content creator. That's an A draft. Well done, that rocks. Great. Hard to quibble. You know, some people are saying they would have preferred this or that in terms of certain players or things of that nature. One person said your dad did well until Hartman. Not a fan of that at all. Love the trade down. You got a lot of love, basically, is the point. There was a lot of love here, except for some. It's trash. Why would the Jets go center in the third? We just got Tippmann and McGovern is out there if needed. So some fans did not like that.
Center in the second, for the record.
Yeah. Who said that? Yeah, that's true. You did go in the second. That was Zach Frazier who ended up being that.
Zach Frazier, who shy of an injury would have been a top 15 pick.
Yep. And others said it was a sexy draft and they loved it. Your dad should be the GM. Your dad should replace you on the show. Yeah, there was a lot. So there you go. Overwhelming support. You got your rose petals and all that jazz. So congratulations. Very nice.
Oh, thank you very much. But I knew the detractor would have been the Hartman. So we can all agree to disagree on that.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely saw out there that. So if I was going to have a moniker on my weekly appearance, Guy Green is definitely better than Man Green.
That's true.
Definitely does sound like I should be on some isolation colony somewhere.
Yeah. It sounds like a Game of Thrones grayscale going on there. Man Green. It seems like you should be separated from the public. Yeah. So but I've heard that before. Someone asked me at the beginning because I got this nickname like a decade ago, Boy Green. And someone said, so what's going to happen when you get older? I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, so are you just going to kind of transform into Man Green? I'm like, what am I, a caterpillar? No, like I assume Boy Green is just going to stick around, man. I don't know. I'm not going to go into a cocoon and come out Man Green. I'm not sure. It doesn't sound great. I don't know. I don't know what will happen. I guess we'll find out as time, moves on, I suppose.
Well, it'll probably be okay. Kid Rock is still Kid Rock.
That's a good point. All right. Let's rock. All right, Dad, are you ready for your story time?
Yes, I am. Okay. Are you ready?
No, but, that's what it's all about.
All right. So inside Boy Green is related to his prowess. Prowess? How do you say that word?
Prowess?
Prowess? Yes. Prowess. In the drinking arena, alcoholic consumption.
Okay.
And as he did, revealed everybody. Actually, I went back and looked at a post I had from when he turned 21, which was a decade ago, almost a decade ago, shy of a few days. Someone said I was a fool for thinking that you had never had an alcoholic drink before. I was pretty sure that you had not. But anyways, it became proven that day. So again, we went to UFC 172 in Baltimore, went to Baltimore. It was actually, they were rioting in Baltimore. Actually, there was, at that time, I was not sure that was the wise. It sounded cool at the time. We flew to Baltimore.
Yeah.
I flew from Atlanta. You flew from Syracuse. and then there's rioting in the street. So, but anyways, I digress. We went to the Hard Rock Cafe in Baltimore for your first drink, and this is what it looked like.
Yep, here it is. Here it is, folks. This is for audio only listeners. I will attempt to describe it, but there it is. There's a young.
There's the first beer.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the Hard Rock.
Light.
Miller Lite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so you waited all that time. There we were at the Hard Rock. It was we got there as soon as it opened. We toasted. The waitress took the picture for us.
Yes.
You took a drink of your first alcoholic beverage in 21 years of existence.
Yeah.
Actually, 21 years and 2 hours of existence. And you didn't like it. You didn't finish your beer.
Yeah.
You didn't want another drink. Later that day, you had a drink, and there is no pictures of that, nor will it be discussed. However, it was a blue drink.
Yes.
And I pretty much had to carry you around the city of Baltimore the rest of the day. But not a big drinker.
But just real quick, So I'm going to be honest. I wanted to like it. I had never had beer or any alcohol for that matter in my life. I took a swig and it tasted like piss. I'm going to be honest. It tasted like piss. And then I've heard a lot of people.
How you know what that tastes like?
Well, there you are. There you are, Kurt Angle. I eat pieces of crap like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of crap for breakfast?
Wait. Like, so it tasted like piss. And I'm going to be honest that, like, I've heard a lot of people over the course of time, not just in that moment, but time, saying, well, Paul, it's an acquired taste. And I reply to those people, when am I ever going to acquire the taste for piss? And So I'm not a big alcohol drinker as it pertains to Miller Lights. No.
That's right. So when he did find one he drank, he was capable of drinking it.
Mm-hmm.
However, the rest of his incredibly tall, maybe tall enough to ride Space Mountain, maybe not, 4 foot, 11 inches tall, whatever it is. When he did drink it at 110 pounds, when he did drink it and he had one hard Mike, he decided he liked Mike's Hard Lemonade. When he had one drink, this was the result.
Okay, yeah, here it is. All right, guys, just hang on a second. I'm going to throw this one up as well. Boy. All right, 1 second. Just hang on tight. Yeah, I'm going to have to show this version. It's not a big photo, but hopefully you guys can see that.
Yeah. So after one Mike's Hard Lemonade, there he is, passed out on the landing.
Yeah.
With his lovely fiance standing over the top of him, trying to figure out how to move his dead carcass off the landing after one Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Yeah. I don't think it was one. There was an entire case. I believe that was swigged. Yeah. It's hard to know. It's hard to know.
Yeah, you have the case of being a moron in this situation. But anyways, so there he was. That was his. That was shortly after his 21st birthday. So he really wasn't up for it. But time has progressed. He has moved on.
Yeah.
And now one of the things that my wife and I have been doing for as long as PJ's or Boy Green has been around is we go to New Orleans where they have the most powerful hand drink, which is a hand grenade.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, it's a tropical drink that's mixed with grain alcohol, 195 proof.
Yes.
And so he has progressed to the time he can actually drink this drink. We can sit back and have a drink together. And there's his progression. He didn't like the taste of beer, passed out on one Mike's hand grenade. And there he is drinking the most powerful drink in the world famous hand grenade. So there is the exploits of Boy Green. Still not a drinker. Occasionally we'll have a hand grenade. Occasionally maybe a shot of Fireball. But not a drinker.
No. I've throughout my life, I've had my fiance before she became my fiance, right before college, I hopped in the car and just said we had been doing an online relationship, and I said, you know what, let's just do it. Right before college, I'm going to drive down to Massachusetts and see if it's real because I was about to do my final semester of college, so I just hopped in the car, drove down. And in that first couple of days of meeting, I had my first Jaeger bomb, which, dropping a shot into a drink and then pounding that one. And Tatiana, my fiance, still says my eyes rolled in the back of my head for that drink. I don't know, but I remember it was great. So that was nice. So there you go. That was so I've had in my life, but it's very limited. So Jaeger bomb, hand grenades for sure. I really enjoy those. Again, for those who have never had a hand grenade, they've never been to New Orleans, which I have not. But for the Mardi Gras people that are out there in the universe or not, you could get that stuff shipped to you and have the wonderful taste of the most powerful drink in the world. So you guys can do it. So that's what I would say. I would advocate for people to. You can look it up online. You could get it shipped to your house. It's quite tasty, quite powerful, but quite tasty. And hand grenades up there. Yeah.
Do you have that other picture available? People say you don't look happy in this picture. The other one of you and the with the hand grenade in the cup.
Oh, like the bucket you're talking about?
The one where you're wearing our gear, our Team Esden gear.
Oh, yes. I think I have that one. Oh, yeah. I got this one, too. Yeah, this is a show and tell photo time here. I don't know why it doesn't say I don't look, whatever. Yeah, here it is. This is down in
There's one where perhaps he looks a little happier.
Yeah. The Wicked Pissa Cup is what that green cup says. And yep, I'm
Wicked Pisser. He's rocking the Team Esden apparel.
Yes.
Which,
and I got the big Jets bucket hat on, which, by the way, I get to wear during the summer, which is very nice. There you are. Cheers to everyone out there. Mm-hmm.
All right, very good. That's the story, the history of Boy Greens.
Wow, yeah, that's quite a road. It's quite a picture you painted there, no question about it. Again, to this day, really the only things I drink water. I drink Glacial Freeze Gatorade, Mountain Dew. Sure, that's in the system, and that's basically it. I'm going to be honest. That's the rotation. The diner we go to every week, they don't have Mountain Dew, so I drink whatever they have. But yeah, that's basically the liquid intake, and I just kind of work home, and a couple of functions here, there, or anywhere. So yeah, it's not an expansive, it's not an expansive diet, quite frankly, of liquid intake. Not very expansive. Yeah, it's the best way to put it.
True story.
Wow. So a compelling story. Okay. Well, without further ado, you want me to open up the phone lines here, Pop?
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay. We will open up the phone lines and take a few calls. We have nearly 1,000 people in the room. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Again, if you guys would like to call into the show, make a comment. All you have to do is be on camera if you can and be in a relatively quiet space, and we'll bring you up on the show. Let me put the video column link here.
Yeah, by the way, a lot of comments about your hat there.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that look.
Oh.
Not just on you, because it makes you look like you wearing a goofy hat. But I just think those hats are goofy.
Yeah. I like the bucket hat. It's a good training camp kind of hat. It's a good, go to the beach kind of hat. There's not everyone can rock it. So,
yeah. I don't know if he'll be on today or he'll call in today. Okay. But I think our hat aficionado Johnny.
Oh yes.
Did not appreciate that hat. I'll tell you that. Or Ricky from New York with his 300 hat collection he showed us yesterday. None of them were bucket hats.
No
safari traveling.
Danger. So we get a little bit of that. Oh, there we go. I didn't even mean to pop up that comment, but yes, was Boy Green Sr. a chief in the Navy?
That is true. I was 20 years in the Navy.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, like I said, whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to pop that up, but appreciate it. All right, we'll get to. I see we have a bunch of calls. We'll get to those in just a second. Again, like I said, we have about 1,000 people in the room right now. Like I said, if you're watching on YouTube, hit like. Hit subscribe. Also, if you're watching on any of the other features, Heavy on Jets, which thank you to our heavy bosses for supporting the show, and also on Twitter @BoyGreen25 / appreciate it, and also YouTube. You have to be on YouTube if you guys would like to call into the show. So it's the pinned comment on YouTube. If you're watching live on the show, you'll have an opportunity to call in. So feel free to do that. You can't jump in if you're on one of the other features. So just a quick note. To everyone out there who may be attempting to call in. We got several people. Oh, wow. The phone lines are busy. So, all right, let me go to each person in order here. All right, we got Bill joining us here on the show. What's up, Bill?
Good morning. How are you guys?
Excellent.
I'm kind of sorry to hear about the Conklin controversy, whether or not
Yeah.
his days as a Jet may be numbered. I consider him a solid player.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes I think about a couple of the best tight ends we used to have, which was Mickey Schuler and
Sure.
Dustin Keller.
Hmm.
Uh, Definitely solid. Uh, I think the having Rodgers with a much better offensive line in front of him will open up the passing game where he doesn't have to throw downfield all the time. He can throw to his tight ends, throw to his running backs, keep the defense off balance. And Conklin's production will definitely go up. Not to mention whoever else they have at tight end, whether it's Rucker, whether it's Bowers.
Sure.
The only concern I had about Bowers was if you draft Bowers at 10,
Hmm.
then you don't draft again till or pick again till 72. And at
Correct.
that point, what are you going to pick? Are you going to pick your wide receiver? Or are you going to pick your offensive tackle?
Mm.
As opposed to, well, if other teams think that Bowers is such a hot property, those that draft after the Jets,
Hmm.
then there's always a possibility that one of these teams might want him so bad that they'll contact JD and say, "Hey, dude, can we deal?" And not only get a second round pick, but just maybe get a fourth round pick on top of that for Bowers, and then we can have a lot more flexibility as far as who we pick.
It
So
is a good point, Bill, just to jump in that, like, again, a lot of the debate has been offensive tackle, wide receiver, offensive tackle, wide receiver. By adding in tight end to it, which I know technically is pass catcher, but to your point, if you add that in, you still, in theory, still have the other two things to address because Mike Williams is quote unquote a long way to recover from the torn ACL, which means your starting wide receivers are Garrett Wilson and Alan Lazard. Ugh, there's not a lot of depth there that you feel great about. So that would be another position. The only thing I will say to all the offensive line people, and I know we have several, and I could see a few of the callers. We got a bunch of callers, 5 or 6 people waiting on the line. So we'll get to you guys shortly. But I think the tight end thing that does help is that they will chip block. They will help in pass protection. And hopefully some of that 12 personnel works in that favor too for max protection opportunities, give extra time for Rodgers potentially in this as well. But you do make a compelling point that if you zig whenever other people are zagging in terms of positional needs, what is the solution? What is the answer to the depth at offense tackle? Is it Bakhtiari and free agency? Are they trading back up? There's a lot more questions than answers at this point, Bill.
right, right. To Boy Green Sr. Uh, when I first got into football, because up until that time I was a Mets fan since I was 8 years old, and this is back in 1966, just to give you an idea. I was flipping the channels and I came across back then Channel 9, which was WOR-TV. I forget what it's called today. I think it's called My 9 or something like that. But I was flipping the channels and I came across Notre Dame football. And then I heard a familiar voice broadcasting for them, and it was Lindsey Nelson, the Mets broadcaster. So sure enough, I said, well, let me take a look and see what this is all about. So I started following football through Notre Dame. And in addition to the Jets being my team, Notre Dame and the Oklahoma Sooners are my college teams. And back then, up through the early 2000s, I always used to watch college football daily, always checking out the young guys to see which ones I thought would be wonderful additions to our team. Yeah, Notre Dame football is what got me hooked on the football, period. So I'm very happy about that. And yeah. And boy, Green, just one last thing. Your
Yes,
daughter,
sir.
my granddaughter, both have the middle name of Luna.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, she's a
All
real
over there.
cutie.
Yep.
Mine's is a little older than yours. She'll be going on 7 in October.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Like, I can't take any credit for the name. That's all my fiance for Azariah Luna. I did get dibs on middle name. You know, that's kind of a negotiation. I'm like, I'm naming this baby. And then I walk away. All right, I got the middle name. Not bad. Good negotiating. That's kind of what happened there. So, yeah, That's
All right. So I won't keep you guys any longer because I know other people on the line, they want to
Yes.
get their 2 cents in. So everyone have a great weekend, and thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Appreciate you. Also, real quick, I just saw this one. Hopefully, we'll talk about this over the weekend. Matthias asks, is there any way Alt falls to Ted? Because if so, take him. There was a new nugget in Rich Samini's podcast that he believes that there's no lock that Brock Bowers is on the board at 10. And he got some inkling that Tennessee could be the surprise team that takes Brock Bowers, which then would open the door for Alt or maybe one of the receivers to fall. So that's the latest juicy stuff out there. We'll see if that indeed ends up being the case. All right, let's go back to some more calls here. Thank you for the call, Bill. Let's go to another B. What about Bobby joining us here on the show? What's up, Bobby?
Hey, do it, Paul and Pop. How you doing?
Hey, Bobby.
Did you hear what I did Wednesday night?
I didn't read the police blotter, so no.
No, I didn't do anything. I called WFAM Wednesday night.
Oh, cool.
And I talked to Chief McPherson. And I asked them, do you think the Jets should pick Knoble out of college?
Oh, you were the one who did that, Bobby. Oh, that's phenomenal.
Me and the other guy, he called later that morning. What is his name? Can't remember the guy's name, but he also called too. So Jake is cracked. I couldn't believe I didn't start laughing. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to know, you think Minnesota needs a tight end?
No, I don't think so with TJ Hawkinson. I know he had the injury.
Yeah, what am I thinking?
No, that's okay, Bobby. That's all right. Yeah, but
Minnesota has 2 first-round picks.
They do. They have 11 and 23. Like I said, I think PFF is broken. My dad wanted to trade back and take Brock, but the PFF system is, like I said, broken. It just keeps forcing Brock Bowers to the Vikings. That would, that'd be flabbergasting. I think teams to look at: Jets at 10, Broncos at 12, and Colts at 15. That's what Dane Brugler said. He believes those are the 3 potential landing spots for Bowers in the top 15.
I want Joe Alt for the Jets.
Oh, yeah. Sign me up, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I do like my Notre Dame too, like Bill does.
Oh, nice. Okay. We got a growing Notre Dame army out there.
Now, if we could just get you a better hat.
Hey, I know you're a Met fan.
He's a Red Sox guy.
Oh, my God. Red Sox. You could count the winnings on your hand how many times they won the World Series.
Oof.
Now, we don't need to go down this path.
I didn't bring it up.
But we could talk about how many times they've won the World Series in the past, I don't know, a couple decades.
Let's do this. It's like saying the Celtics and the Knicks. When was the last time the Knicks won it? I was 4 years old.
73?
72, yep.
Oh, 72. Okay. Yeah.
I'm old fart. I was born in 68.
Yeah. Wow.
Are you about my age, Pop?
I was born in 68 as well.
Yeah, I know. I was born in August in New York. That's hot.
Wow. Yeah.
Were you born in August?
May.
Okay, you're like May, June. 3 months older than me.
Okay.
Not much.
Yeah.
Don't we feel old? No. My daughter's already 18. But I could be a grandpa too, you know.
Wow. Okay. We'll be.
Yeah, I could be. But I started late. I had her when I was 38. But you guys are awesome.
Well, thanks, Bobby. And I'm going to have to, I don't know if that clip exists out there, but I do want to see that clip of you.
Go to Jake Asman's show and then you see it.
Oh, he saw it? Oh, great. I will.
Oh, everybody saw it.
That's awesome. Thanks, Bobby.
Goodbye now, guys.
Yep, see ya. Yeah, and for people who don't understand the inside joke there in Knoble, again, Jake Asman had a show. He's a fellow Jets content creator. He had a show, had a call-in line, and for people to ask about draft prospects. This person calls in, and he brings up this name, Knoble, and people are like, who? Who is that? And this fan goes, I don't know. He played at college. Yeah, okay. What college? What position? Where? He was very confused, and then he just left eventually, and then we were just left with Knoble. Who is Knoble? Who is this player that he wants the Jets to draft? So now we've got this wild thing, and apparently Bobby called in a big-time radio station, asked about Knoble, and they're like, who the hell is Knoble? And the joke continues. So I've not seen that from Jake's channel, so I'll have to hop in on that. All right, we got a new caller here on the show, so let's jump there. And next to the conga line, we got Phil joining us here on the show. What's up, Phil? I am Philly Noodles. All right. What's up, brother?
Philly Noodles with an S. Remember that?
Love
a few weeks back. Yeah, what's going on, guys? How you doing?
Well, good.
First off,
thanks for calling in.
let me of course. Let me start with saying a 68 from Pop and a 68 from Bobby is two different looks, right? That's crazy. Those are two different 68s.
Yeah, I think so.
Whatever you're drinking, keep drinking it.
I was just about to say a different bottle of wine there. When I look at the year, what was the year on that one? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. One fermented a little extra, but yes. So a couple of things to touch on real quick. I know with Heavy, I gotta ask you. There's a Latham take out there that he met twice with the Jets. So is that real? And two, do we see then if that's the case? It's kind of like a sleeper. If they do trade back, they would shoot on Latham and then try to get capital to move into the second or grab a second pick from somebody, second round pick. I can see that happening. And then the other thing is, I looked up yesterday some stats with Rodgers and throwing at tight ends, and there was a little thing out there online. I mean, he may do with like some random tight ends, and then Tunyon went for 11 touchdowns. How do we think Conklin can't just? Conklin's a far superior tight end. Like man, the Bauer thing, I get it, but I really don't want to get it. Right? Like it's one of those things you don't want to get. And I'm going to a draft party at the bar here in Charlotte, North Carolina for the Jets. If I see Powers on that TV, I think half the bar might flip tables over, and then we're going to have another type of night. You know what I'm saying? But what's your take on that? What do you guys think?
Yeah. So I'll tell you that I think Conklin this year will get more. He'll exceed his career touchdown number this year, whether Bowers is there or not. Right? He gets 7 in his career. I think he gets 10. I think. How could he not have Aaron Rodgers, that weapon in the red zone?
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I will say this, Philly Noodles with an S. I will tell you that on the J.C. Latham thing, yes, I've heard that they've met with him multiple times. To me, that seems like the trade back because, again, I can't differentiate between okay, so there's Joe Alt, and then there's everybody else, Fuaga, Latham, Guyton, Mims, who is getting a lot of buzz recently this week too. There's just so many suffocating names. I do believe that Joe Douglas, if the trade back offer comes, he's like, oh, I can trade back either. And I think it's to your point. I think minimum they're getting a 3. You try for the 2, but if you get the 3, you could package that new 3 and 72 to get into the second, and all of a sudden you can get whatever the other position is, which I would assume is wide receiver. If they get Latham trade back, they go back up for receiver, and it's one of those names we all talk about: Ricky Pearsall, Roman Wilson, maybe someone surprising falls like Ladd. All of a sudden you're like, whoa, how is he here in the 40s in the second round? And all of a sudden you jump up for him. So I think 100% that is within the realm of possibilities. There's a ton of possibilities on the table for that too. Again,
one other,
but yeah,
my bad. One other random take is them looking at it with his Super Bowl ring that year and the years that followed and around it. He threw to nothing but 6'1" or 2 or better receivers. So I'm not saying like, hey, he needs to work with smaller guys, but he works well with taller receivers because he's able to place the ball where he knows they're going to win in an advantage. So that's why he wanted Lazard. Wilson's just tall enough. I think like Corley might be not like a good look. The Yak God, I like him, but I don't think it's going to work out. Bowers would work out, but I think it's extra. Breece Hall is already going to come out of the backfield with some catches. I think Breece is, I hate to say it, better than Aaron Jones, right? Hard take, but I think he's probably going to be a better running back. So I think you give him something a little big, give him Devontae Walker in the second. Maybe even Brendan Rice. You take a shot if you're going to wait in the fourth round, whatever the heck may have you. But someone tall. I think we're going to roll in another tall receiver. If it's not a Dunes, it'll be in the second. So
I love it. I love the Philly noodles with an S. I love the shout out to Knoble down there
Yeah,
as well.
Knoble, you know. How do you spell it? We don't know. Corbett, Knoble, whatever, you know. Maybe he meant Corbett. God
That's
knows.
right. Yeah, I think you might be right. Phil, thanks for popping on, brother.
Yeah. Good day, gentlemen.
All right, thank you. Have a great day. All right, wow. These calls have been intense. They've been awesome. I love it. All right, we got one more, and it's everybody's favorite caller. It's Avatal gracing us with his presence. Alan here on the show. What's up, Alan?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How are you? First of all, I love the dynamics between the both of you. I'm going to Cowboy Country, Pops, so I got to start hating your team. I'm sorry. I just have to.
It's all right.
But
you're not alone.
I'm not alone. Quick question on the draft. I'm a huge Alt guy. I'd love to get him at 10. But if we don't get him at 10, the versatility of guys like Fatanu and Graham Barton really intrigue me. If you go down to 15, I think you still can get a Fatanu. If you even go down even further, maybe to the early 20s, you can get a Barton. As I told Paul yesterday, the thought of getting a second round wide receiver appeals to me so much. I'm a big Roman Wilson guy. I just love the way he separates. And I think he'd be the perfect wide receiver 3 in this offense. And in time could be a wide receiver 2. So the idea of getting a lineman, then a wide receiver within the first 50 picks just makes too much sense to me. I know people have been talking about Bowers all this time. I love Bowers. I think he's a phenomenal player. But I agree with you. I think Tyler Conklin, I think he's an average to above average tight end. I think he's in the 11 to 15 range in the league. But again, playing with Rodgers, I think he could propel him into a 8 to 10 touchdown guy. But again, I need an offensive lineman with this team with 2 33-year-old tackles starting. That's the bottom line. I know a lot of people want to score points, and again, this team has had so many issues scoring points, but the idea of getting a young lineman who could just fill in if one of these tackles gets hurt just is so appealing to me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree on the lineman. I agree. I think that that would be an ideal. You know, it's going to be, I'll tell you, sitting there at 10, I would like to trade back like I did with my mock draft, but I agree, the offensive lineman there. And then really gauging, you know, getting that second round pick. And then it worked out well. I couldn't pass up Zach Frazier when I did the round because of his talent. And people that don't know, you should go look. But getting the shy of him, getting that other weapon for the compliment is definitely something. I think I went after in the third round, but I agree with you.
Yeah, I'll just jump in real quick on the Joe Alt thing. Samini said in his show that if we get the surprise Bauer at 7, like that's a team, I'm going to be honest, I haven't considered at all for Bowers as a possibility. But again, that's what's awesome about the draft. There's surprises. If that surprise happens, all of a sudden you start doing the math in your head. You're like, is Joe Alt the one that surprisingly slips? And Samit even said that's a possibility, or one of the receivers or anything, because if that happens, bing, boom, bam, there's all these ripple effects from it. Alt seems like the ripple effect among the guys, unless the Bears just went, F it, we're going to have long-term Darnell Wright and Joe Alt. And I wouldn't blame them if they decided to do that. But that would mean one of the receivers then. So either way, I think it works out great for the Jets if Bowers goes earlier, because someone else has fallen. There's only so many picks before the Jets end up selecting a 10.
And finally, I brought this trade up yesterday. I heard it. I scoured the net. I listened to a lot of shows. Mm-hmm. The trade between the Saints and the Bears has been talked about a lot, about the Saints moving up in front of the Jets to take Olu Fashanu as they needed left tackle extremely badly. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the Bears, other than their first and their 9th pick, they have no other picks in the draft. So for them, it's important for them to get draft capital. So the idea of moving down maybe to 14 and getting a second, or maybe a second and maybe a day 3 pick might be appealing to them. But again, if Alt is there at 9, if it's between Alt and Adunze, with Alt being right in the backyard there at Notre Dame, I can see the Bears taking him. at 9. I really
Yeah, let me
could.
just clarify real quick. The Bears only have 4 picks in this draft. It's
correct.
1, 9. They have 75 in the 3rd round. They also have 122 in the 4th round. So, but they are very limited. So again,
Yes.
that could be compelling if, like a team like that, they want to trade back to get into some of the other rounds.
Absolutely. And again, finally, the only receivers I would take at 10 would be the top 3 guys. Again,
Correct. I agree.
I do not want to touch Brian Thomas Jr. I don't think he's that good. I think Brian Thomas Jr. is a 20s to 40s type of receiver. I am not picking him at 10. I think he's a guy that struggles at the line of scrimmage getting separation. Again, his pro comp has been Martavis Bryant from the Steelers, and he wasn't that good of a football player, in my opinion. Again, trade back, get a tackle, but if Odunze happens to fall to 10, that's the guy I would take. But again, it's imperative for them to get a tackle with 2 33-year-old tackles starting this year. But again, I love the dynamics of both you guys. Keep it going, okay, guys?
Thank you. Thanks, Alan, for calling into the show. Yeah, I will just double down on that take because I know I tweeted out a Brian Thomas clip right before the show about Dane Brugler talking about him being this dynamic guy and how bullish he is on him. Again, that would scare me to take him at 10 just because it's a lot of projection. He didn't run a lot of different things. He ran, as Dane Brugler said, slants, goes, and all these things. But boy, you just got to project that when he did it in limited sample size at OSU, he could do it all the time in the NFL. And that, I don't know, man. That Brian Thomas kind of scares me. Go ahead. I missed that, Dad.
Yeah, not at number 10. That's not a projection type of pick.
Yeah, I agree. Dane said it wouldn't be crazy. He believes he's going to be a top half of first-round guy, Brian Thomas Jr., the LSU wide receiver, so like somewhere within the first 16 picks. And he said it, quote-unquote, wouldn't be crazy if he went there at 10. Good morning, honey. Here we go. Soraya Luna on the show. Hey, look, it's Pop. We got to play the video now every time this happens. So here we go. Wow. You remember when he said wow? Nice. All right. Actually, we have one more caller that's jumping in on the show. So let's get to him. One last guy. We got NY Jets FL gracing us with his presence. What's up, buddy?
Gentlemen, good morning. I appreciate the last minute getting me on last minute. Now, I have to ask you, your daughter's a beautiful young lady.
Thank you so much.
Cherish all the moments with her. Because I just dropped off my 16-year-old at high school, so it goes very quick. It goes very quick. What was the reference to 68? Was that like the year you were born, or what? I missed that part.
Yeah, 68. That was Bobby and I. Bobby and I are twins.
Apparently, they were both born in 1968. He and Bobby.
I got you by 3 years. I was born in 65. Got you by 3 years. So I was trying to figure out what that was. I don't have any issue with upgrading our tight end because if you look, for example, at the Lions, right? They saw a need to upgrade their running back. They drafted DeAndre Swift and they pivoted to Jahmyr Gibbs. They saw a more explosive player, a player that you can get to the next level with. A mismatch, an open field. So I understand the point of staying with the safe, and a top 15 tight end, but to get a guy like Bowers who can be a difference maker on so many different plays in a game, and I hate to say this, the offensive tackle we draft, he may not see the field that much. I know we're going to need one, but if we piece it together with some of the Bakhtiari types, I would think strongly about Bowers. And my guy would be Ladd McConkey in the second round if we can get a trade down. And because I was trying to look for comps for Jordy Nelson, because Jordy Nelson seemed to be Rodgers' guy for a while.
Sure.
And I would say Garrett Wilson's a comp, but Ladd McConkey, I think that guy had 10 drops in his career at Georgia. I mean, some insane number like that. And he's such a crisp route runner, never drops the ball, yak. He's just a beast. But I talked enough, but how's life in Atlanta, Paul Sr.?
It's good. The furniture is coming maybe today, so that'd be nice. I'm on a folding chair,
Hey,
which
Paul.
is not good.
I got you, Paul. There's no harm in not drinking alcohol. I'm not a fan of it either. It's a very hard on your system, man. I never like the feeling of drinking, and the next day you just feel like wonky. It's just it's rough on you. So I'm a coffee guy. I drink Propel. You want a sponsorship? I'll be happy to hook you
Oh
up
yeah,
with one.
please.
But
Please work that in. I've never had a sip of coffee in my life. Apparently, me and Bill Belichick are
Ah.
similar in that world. Apparently, so I've never had a sip
wow.
of coffee, iced coffee, any kind of coffee. So that has not entered my system. But yes, I am open to sponsorship. So slide in the DMs. Then I guess. I
You
appreciate
both have
that,
the same fashion sense as well.
Hey, there's nothing wrong.
Me and
with that.
you?
No.
You mean
I think
me
you're
and
talking
you, Paul?
about
Black
Boy
shirt?
Green and Bill Belichick have
Bill
the same
Boy
fashion
Green and Bill
sense.
Belichick.
Oh,
Very,
I
very
see.
good.
Hoodies and stuff. I thought you with the black shirt and me with the black shirt.
Yeah, that's
And
what
the
I thought you
hat.
were talking about too. But yeah,
But I got you.
Yeah, that's right.
I do
Well,
have to
thanks.
ask the general
Yeah.
manager of the Cowboys. I do have to ask the general manager of the Cowboys what his team is actually doing.
They are not all in, apparently. They are at the $1-2 table and keep folding. So they need to get moving.
Wow.
And maybe they have a grand plan, but it looks like they're bumbling around.
That's what it seems.
Can I ask you a question? I know you got to go, but real quick.
Yeah.
If you had to trade one player out of the big three, if you had to trade one of those guys, who would you trade?
And of course, he's talking about Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons.
Yes.
What a great question today.
I'll tell you, with the right compensation, I would consider trading Dak.
Wow, Dak. Oh.
It wouldn't be. You wouldn't be asking 2 first rounders, would you? Something insane like that, because you got to pay him $60 million.
I would say that 2 first rounders would not be insane. You go look back at the history of the NFL. There are a lot of a couple. Now, will they get it? I don't know, but yeah, it would be a lot to be able to give them up. If I had to pick one, that's one of the 3 I would do. Depending on how the negotiations for their extensions were going, may change my answer. But who has a longer runway that can lock down the other 2? And Dak, I'm not sure we going to keep coming back, rinse and repeat on his contract. So.
Yeah, and that's a problem. Real quick on Dak is that, because of his contract structure, he can't get franchise tag next year. So the only time you could trade him is now. And then who the hell is playing quarterback? Cooper Rush, Trey Lance. So yeah, that's a complicated picture. But I'm glad it's their problem, not ours.
Cooper Rush, who has a 80% win percentage.
Oh, geez.
When's the last time a Jets quarterback had that? Just asking. Just asking.
Let me ask you a question. Are you confident Dak can get you over the hump?
The reason the Cowboys lost in the playoffs to the Green Bay Packers is now no longer a Cowboy problem. It's Dan Quinn. He's the reason they lost. They knew they couldn't stop the run in 2022. They did nothing to fix that in 2023. And anybody that came and pounded the ball at them, they lost to. So that in the play calling was questionable in that game as well. But the reason they lost, and every game they lost in 2023, was because that defense couldn't stop the run, which was a problem they knew about from the year before. That is Dan Quinn's name all over it. And so I like Dan Quinn, but I'm okay that he left.
Well, NY Jets, thanks for the call, pal. My dad's movers are there,
Thanks,
so he's going to
gentlemen.
get all the furniture in right now. But thank you so much, pal.
Thank you as always. You have a great day, gentlemen.
All right, you too. All right. Thanks, everybody who called in. Again, over 1,000 people in the room live right now. Thank you so much. Again, make sure you guys like the video. Hit subscribe down below. My father joins me every week. It's normally every Saturday. And we'll see you guys later. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow morning for Boy Green Daily at 7:30 a.m. Take care, everybody. Peace.